The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Welcome back to the show, all Cherries fans, and hello to all of our friends from Arsenal Fan TV and, of course, all Arsenal fans in general. It is great to have you with us again. So, of course, last time out, Manchester United managed to get a draw at Dean Court, albeit in very controversial circumstances. We were much the better side. Then, of course, Evanilson was sent off for a slip. That's now being rescinded. Dango Ouattara was through on goal. He was pulled back. Nothing given to Agate. And then Manchester United scored their equaliser right at the death, and no lines were even drawn. VAR, fit for purpose? Well, in my opinion, and in a lot of Cherries' opinions, it isn't. Now, of course, we do visit the Gunners this weekend, and of course, you know who we've got on already. But to mention our two sponsors, we have got Dental on the Banks. Find them at dentalonthebanks.co.uk for all of your dental needs, and also Touchpoint Telecoms at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk. Do get in contact with Mark and the team there for all your business telecoms needs, be it in London, be it in the South Coast, be it in Devon, Cornwall, wherever in the UK, you can rely on Touchpoint Telecoms. Now, of course, the Gunners have been going well this season. They absolutely demolished Real Madrid in the Champions League. In the Premier League, unfortunately, they have fallen quite a bit short. Over 15 points between them and, of course, champions now, Liverpool. It is a pleasure to welcome back on a special guest, and from the leading Arsenal channel. Of course, there's only one, Arsenal Fan TV. It is a pleasure to welcome on Cecil Jee Thomas. Welcome back to the show, Cecil. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. As I just said to you, just off camera, I just literally rushed through the door to get us over the line. It's been a busy couple of weeks, if I'm being honest. From like personal wise, it's been a really busy couple of weeks. But football wise, things are, well, they were good. They're just Champions League, obviously a 1-0 deficit to PSG. We've got another leg to go, but that's kind of where the attention for most Arsenal fans and myself is. But we can't disregard the Premier League. We still want to get, if we win, and I think if Chelsea lose, we can secure Champions League football. And for us, I still want to be second. I don't want to go out on a whimper. I still, like, if we lose to you, then we have Liverpool next. I don't want to kind of go on a losing streak. Plus, then we've got middle of the week, we've got PSG. So I'm okay. I'm just trying to keep a positive mindset. But yeah, it's been a bit of a, since that result, I'm questioning a lot. But again, like I said, I mean, all eyes now go to the game against you guys, and I always love speaking to you as well. I've come on this channel as well, so thank you for having me back. And it's always a good game. It's always a good game.
Definitely. And I'll tell you what, let's start off with one of, without a doubt, the best performances that I've seen in recent years in the Champions League. You know where I'm going with this. That 3-0 win against Real Madrid. You absolutely demolished them, Cecil.
Yeah, it was honestly, even I know what this Arsenal team's capable of, but it sometimes, well, a lot of the times, I think, not just me, a lot of the fan base, we just forget, because we get caught up in the whole, we didn't sign as proper striker in the summer. There's been injuries, there's been players playing out of position. So with all that building up to that game and the heritage of Real Madrid and what they've done in the competition, it was, I don't know, I don't think many people, I know a lot of people didn't expect a 3-0 win, especially at home. And I mean, home, we have been okay, but sometimes we don't have the top performances. I mean, I think Arsenal, we've been pretty good away a lot of the time, but that performance there, and it wasn't just because people can talk about the free kicks, and which, by the way, were unbelievable. Again, Rice doesn't normally take free kicks. He's not a free kick taker. He steps up and puts two in the top corner. Unbelievable. But the whole performance was just so comprehensive. It was so like for me, it just was a bit shocking. I just couldn't believe the levels we reached and what we got to. It was like Real Madrid was stunned by Arsenal, which is a mad sentence to say because they have. I know it's not the Galacticos of old, but they're modern
Yeah.
day Galacticos. Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
There's Rudiger at the back. There's class there. So, and we made them look very amateur team that seemed like we were the most successful in the competition, and we got no European heritage. So it was a joy to watch. It was something that really I don't know. I'll be honest. I lived off that result
Mhm.
for a long time, for the whole week. And people would say like, there'll be the purists and the
Yeah.
standard merchants be saying, "Oh, we haven't won anything yet. Don't get too. It's only yes, we beat Real Madrid, but focus. We haven't won anything yet. Don't get too excited." But for me, I'm just like, come on, that's massive. Mikel Arteta first managerial job is just outclassed Ancelotti. So for me, incredible. The players reached new heights. They really stepped up to it. Some of the young players that have made their mark this season really showed their quality and class. I must admit, PSG kind of did the same to us in the game that just happened the other night. They
Yeah.
kind of shocked us. They knew the scripture. They read the Arsenal book and had every answer for what we threw at them, which worries me. But that night at Real Madrid and at the Bernabeu, I didn't even touch on the Bernabeu when I was there. That atmosphere was unbelievable. I was in awe watching their fans do their tifos, and considering the ones I won the other night was terrible, and just like the energy from them and then the players and how they tried to get behind them, but Arsenal just kept them quiet. I was going to be over the moon with a draw, and we ended up winning that game. And
Mhm.
what a performance! Bukayo Saka, yes, he chipped it and missed the penalty, but I tell you what a superstar! The confidence for him to chip it, miss a penalty, then go in and chip the keeper again after that
Yeah.
is just crazy. So massive, massive, massive two games that was, and huge for the team, huge for the fan opinion. And yeah, it was amazing. And again, I always spoke about that game, massive in the European night. But I must say as well, the other night I watched Inter Barca, that was another tremendous game. Like the level of football, the quality of football, and the
Yeah.
intensity and the skill level is just phenomenal. But this is that's what this is about.
Mm.
It's the Champions League. That's what it is. It's the best of the best. And I know we say Premier League, it's the best competition in the world, most competitive and whatnot, and the most insane. And I hear that, but Champions League is, you get to see the greats go up against each other, and we're seeing that currently. But that Real Madrid one is unforgettable.
Let me ask you what could be a very cutting question now, though,
Aish,
Cecil. Here
go
we
on.
go. If you can do that to Real Madrid and you can perform so well in
Mm,
both legs in the Champions League
yeah.
against what is the best team in the world, why aren't you challenging Liverpool closer than you have?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's a great question. That is a question that I suppose I think has not, I wouldn't say divided the fan base, but it's caused a lot of frustration because I get it, and even before that, when you finish second 3 times in a row, yeah,
Yeah,
you have to pick something up on the way. Yes, I get
yeah,
it. The first season, half season, Arteta came in and won an FA Cup. I hear it, but that's when we weren't challenging. We've been challenging for 3 seasons in a row, and you've missed out on any cup. And I've been honest. I've been open and honest. I've said, listen, I would have taken a Carabao Cup along the journey of it makes second feel a bit better. Listen, no one's celebrating second. We should be going for first, of course, but it gets more frustrating that you've challenged some of the best teams in the world. You got close. This season wasn't as close from us. We was never really in a title race. Liverpool was kind of Liverpool's season from quite early on, but we've challenged top teams and not picked up silverware on the way has been massively frustrating. Especially the fact that City have dominated, but the time they don't, we don't capitalize. And on top of that, City can still pick up a trophy. Chelsea can still pick up a trophy this season. Tottenham can still pick up a trophy this season. Man United can still pick up a trophy this season. And granted, yes, I can say so can Arsenal, but next week that might be very bleak, and that could be all changed. And those teams I mentioned could be ending up with silverware, even though they're finishing 14th, 15th,
yeah,
some outside the top 3. You'll look at Arsenal, we become a bit of a joke because even in our strong seasons, even in our strong seasons, we're not picking up silverware on the way through, which to me is very frustrating. So you're right. Why can't we get closer to Liverpool? Why do we not win it this season? Is the major question. When we've challenged the best team in the world, we've beaten the best team in the world over 2 legs. But The answer really is over 38 games, Liverpool were the better side. That's kind of, I can throw in the referee decisions, I can throw in what happened at Bournemouth, I can throw in
Yeah.
injuries, I can throw in why didn't we strengthen, which again is an Arsenal problem. Why we didn't strengthen in summer properly and pick up a striker? But to me, those are all excuses. The season's determined over 38 games. That proves to you that you're a good comprehensive side and you're a champion. We just haven't been good enough. And not many Arsenal fans will do it, but I'll give credit to Liverpool. I don't have no animosity towards Liverpool. I have no hate towards them. They were the better team over a 38 period, and fair play to them. So Arne Slott's done an incredible job. He's came in, he tweaked things. I didn't think when Klopp left, I thought that was it for Liverpool. I thought there was going to be a rebuild time, but they got the little things right. And we've had what I think second most draws in the league. It's not good enough. If you want to, we've had more than what we got in the Invincible season. So if you want to challenge and actually win a Premier League title, you've got to change those draws into wins. And we weren't, if I'm being honest, just weren't good enough over those games. Champions League's different. It's a cup competition. There's more luck involved. There's more, there's a higher game stake at times, but it's also it's not 38 games. It's less than that, and you sometimes get a lucky run of the draw. We've had quite a tough fixtures. If I'm being honest, we topped our group. We won. Well, we didn't top our group, but we came third in the league standing of the new format. Really good. We had a really good campaign, and we're kicking on. And sorry, I'm rambling on, but I also think what frustrates me a little bit, and I get it, I do get it, but like the games I saw us play really well in was when we was underdogs or there was a bit of needle to the game. Sporting away, we beat them 5-1. Man City, the reverse fixture after saying who the F are you to Mars Lewis Skelly and throwing the ball at the back of Gabriel's head when they came to the Emirates. There was something that the players could hold on to and really grab. And I've been a player. I know that feeling of, okay, there's a little bit more behind this than just, okay, it's another fixture in the Premier League. So we really rose that game. Real Madrid again, like no one expected that. We had to raise our level and get to a standard that no one expected. I think that's when we become our best. And that remontada in the reverse fixture, oh, we're going to come back. We thought, all right, you think you're that good that you're going to overturn this Arsenal side. And I think that fire really spurred on Arsenal. I think it goes really underrated. I know Arteta always talks about energy from the crowd and that, but those little elements in the game and the needle and the passion behind it at times can motivate the players enough to get to a level that we haven't seen. I think PSG had that as well in the opposite effect. We didn't have that. I think we're still living off that Real Madrid fixture and results that we thought, PSG, a good side, but what we did against Real Madrid, that would just come again. Football doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. So PSG had a lot to prove. They were going invincible. They lost their last game. They had a lot to prove. It's they're going for a Champions League that they've never won as well in their history. So there was a lot to it, and I think they overcame us that time. But I know the original question is why we didn't close Liverpool, but that is kind of, those elements are part of it. I don't want to go to the usual excuses of, like I mentioned, the red cards and the refereeing decisions and the injuries and that, because I think that's pointless. The Premier League tells the full story of the season, whether you like it or not.
You've had a lot of draws in there throughout the season. Everton got 2 points off you, for example. And there's games where you would have expected Arsenal to kick on to win those matches, and I guess you haven't. But is Mikel Arteta still the right man?
Yeah, big question. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a Mikel Arteta fan, and I think some fans hate me saying that, but because I'll keep it 100 with everyone that's listening. If they are listening, I said, like, at the beginning of the season, I said, if he doesn't win something this season, we have to look at his position as Arsenal manager. We're not that, I can't say we're on course for that because we're still in a second leg of a semi-final, but that reality could be very true come next week, that we don't end up with any silverware at the end of the season. And I should be a man of my word. People, this world that we live in is, you're a flip-flop if you don't stick to your original opinion. And some will be right. Some will swear by you not being able to change your opinion. But I think the club will give him another year. And I'm an Arsenal fan and I back what the club's decision is. So we give him another year, and that'll be, I think, his final year if he doesn't end up with anything by the end of that season. Then we have to get rid of him. And again, I know the comments are already going crazy. And now next season FC and Netflix FC and another season, blah, blah. I hear all that. I do. Trust me. I get bombarded with that day to day. But I've seen Arteta as a good coach. Maybe not. Maybe there might be frailties in his management and getting it over the line. Yes, that is a fair conversation, and I'm happy to have that one openly. But I think he's a good coach. I've seen him dissect teams, get things tactically right, find new ways to win, work with an I'm going to say, from my opinion, underrated team at times, an underrated front line, shall we say. He's been able to find answers, internal solutions. I used to hate when he used to say that, but he's done that and proved me wrong. Is he the man? I hope so. I think he's going to get another season, so I would back him for another season. It'll be a disappointment if we go out next week in the Champions League, but that can be it's quite a true reality. But I don't think I'm ready to throw up the banners of Arteta out. I've never really been that sort of fan. I've always been a fan that likes to give a manager time. I think he has had a lot of time. There's no denying that. And when the naysayers come up to me and say he's got to go, especially at the end of the season, there's no silverware there, I will understand it. But I'll also say, okay, I always look at what he's. I used to dread going to places like Burnley away and Everton have caused us problems in the past. That's what I'm saying. Back in the day, I was worried about things like that. Arteta's been able to change that. We've been able to challenge. We've been able to beat some of the top managers. We've been able to, sing to fans. Stadiums are empty everywhere we go. I've had a really enjoyable journey in these past couple of seasons of Arteta being a manager. It's just frustrating. The only thing is we haven't got it over the line when it comes to silverware. But he's done so much for the club. He's brought through youngsters. He's made me really buy into an identity, a process of young players coming through and being superstars. There's a lot that I can really say, and I'll look at the Real Madrid results and in this season. I'll look at the Sporting Lisbon games as well, and Sporting CP, so and look at them and say, look, we smashed them and all that. So there is a lot of good that I can take from this season, but again, standards wise, it's silverware that you're judged on, and he knows that. Because he said at the end of the last season, we shouldn't be happy with this. Like, we should be winning the major honours. Everyone's aware of that. So are you the guy? We'll have to find out at the end of the season. But yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of Mikel Arteta. I think he's done a lot of good for this club. More good than bad, in my opinion. Maybe he might be the person that gives the platform for the next manager. We saw Jurgen Klopp leave, who was tremendously successful.
Yeah.
And I never expected Klopp to come in and reach those heights. But in his first season, he's won the Premier League. So it can be done. It can be done. I'm aware of that. So maybe it's a very good question. But again, I'm not one to be. I won't be at the front of the queue screaming Arteta out. But I'll be able to hear people and hear their opinions. I think you see what happens starting next season, and then go from there. But he really is under pressure. Really is.
Right, I'm going to throw something up that possibly is something that AFC Bournemouth fans won't want me to mention to you. Iraola. Now, I honestly believe if Arsenal was to dispose of the services of Mikel Arteta, all this talk about Iraola going to Spurs. I can't see it. Daniel Levy would be an absolute nightmare and ruin his career. You could see him going to Real Madrid, but is that going to be a jump too high? And of course, Klopp is mentioned there. There is one team in English football that I think Iraola could walk into that job and make it a real success. And that is Arsenal.
Yeah.
Is that something that you share?
Yes and no. The reason why it's a tough one for me, because I've been on this channel many times, up the Cherries in all departments, and but we've been doing interviews and breakdowns for many seasons now. From me when I first joined AFTV, and I remember when Iraola first arrived, we always go back to it. You weren't too sure that as he didn't start too great, but we've seen over the past couple of seasons he's been a tremendous coach and manager. I think he's from the Basque country as well. He shares similar pathways to Mikel Arteta, the same philosophies. It feels like it feels like a perfect fit. But I've brought this up before amongst the office, and they say, "But what is he like? Has he been there? As in, has he been to those big stages? What has he got behind him? Where's the proof of like the majors and stuff?" And and they're spot on. That's why I say yes and no. I'm a huge fan of Iraola. I'm the one.
Yeah.
Trust me. I was campaigning the fact actually that like when they were saying if we get a new manager, who would it be? Every time they say people say Zidane and all these people and all these other managers, and I always mention like Iraola. I always do, but that was always the question mark that came up was what has he won? Has he been there? Can he get it over the line? And that's where I get to a bit of a block because I'm like, you make a good point because this club is, for me, doing very well. But the next step is you need a manager that's been there and been in those finals and gets it over the line. Iraola may not be that. He might be that man, but then that's a risk that the club will have to take. And this club is fine with taking risks. I mean, we signed a manager that's never been a manager before, so they're all good at taking risks, and so that could be possible. But I just don't know. For me, I think the next step is that we need a manager that's been there and done it. I don't want him to change the philosophies though of Mikel Arteta. It's funny. It's like I would like like Slot did when he came in. He didn't change much. He just made little tweaks. For us, it's you don't need to change much. Whoever the new manager would be, if there was a new manager, but you got to make those little tweaks when it comes to those big, high-pressured games because that's where experience comes in. But Iraola, I wouldn't be annoyed if that was the breaking news headline. He's coming to Arsenal. I would not be annoyed. I would back him 100%. I think he's a great coach, but I'd have a little bit in my heart that says we may have needed to go for that bigger name, that bigger someone who's been there and done it. I'd hate to see him at Spurs because I actually think he'll do quite a good job, but it just doesn't suit. And plus, Spurs doesn't the culture, the philosophy, and I think they'd ruin him. Like you mentioned, I don't think he suits Spurs. I know he'd be touted by quite a few other clubs. Real Madrid is a huge step up, but I think the experience I'm asking for is what I'd want to see with him at one of those clubs. So as much as I think it is too much of a big step, I'm campaigning for a manager that's been there and done it, and Real Madrid will be the place for him. Also, people that listen and hear on this video, I have a bit of bias as well with Iraola. Like James Hill obviously plays for Bournemouth. At times he was being dropped. I went and watched obviously Bournemouth versus Arsenal, and he's the one that sorted out my ticket, sorted me out the tickets. He wasn't in the squad that day, and he was like, "Oh, I'm really trying to, find my place in the squad." Obviously, you've had a lot of injuries, so he's found a bit of game time now, and he's featured a lot. But I give Iraola that credit because every time I speak to James, he said, "Bro, his sessions are so detailed and it's so funny." Like when I speak to Arsenal players, they say the exact same thing like Mikel Arteta. Every detail is looked at in a game, and it's high intensity. He likes high intense training and fitness as well for the team. So I like that. I don't think there'll be too much, disparities between two managers. And then lastly, Daniel Jebinson as well, another friend, now new friend of mine. I went on CONCACAF. I went to work with the international break and work with the Canadian national team. Daniel Jebinson's obviously a player who plays for Canada, but also plays for Bournemouth. A really nice guy, and he speaks about Iraola quite highly as well. He's not getting many minutes, but again, that I have a bias to Iraola because I have friends there, and also I actually think he was a good coach before they arrived. So, I mean, I never gave you a solid answer. My thing is probably, and I'm sorry, it's a political answer. It's yes and no. If I saw the headline, like I mentioned, I would be happy. I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
But I also have a side where I'm like, okay, if we get rid of Arteta, who I'm again a big fan of, I need someone who can, and no one can guarantee you trophies, but at least someone that's been there, done it, and knows what to do in those big moments.
I just think that there is a continuity there. The philosophy is the same. The sort of detail that he goes into. It would really worry me if Arteta was to go. Then I think Iraola could well be poached. But I'll tell you what, let's talk very, very briefly about that game. All the way back, wasn't it October time? October the 19th.
Killer.
2-0 we won against Arsenal. One of 3 defeats all season. But first question, William Saliba, was it a red? Go on, Cecil. You give me. I've had my say on it, mate.
All right.
We want to hear your say on this.
Oh, for flip's sake, this is a tough one. Cast my mind back all the way to then. Last man, it wasn't really in Dog's Eye. They're saying, can Ben White come across and stop it? Was it a red card? Great question. Oh, it's a question that at the time I was screaming, saying no way. But the more, I don't know, the more I look at it, do you know what? The thing that's frustrating is the week after Liverpool game, a similar thing happened. They'll say the ball's going a bit more further away from goal, but literally the same sort of distance, and they don't get a red card. That's, for me, it's frustrating. That's why I want to kind of stand on business and say it's not a red card, because the inconsistency is the reason why it's not. But then it gets frustrating, because then at Wolves, Miles Lewis-Skelly gets red carded basically in our own half when someone's trying to break and he just clips his ankle. Like, so I don't know what standard I'm going off. If the Wolves one is a red card, then yes, so William Saliba's is a red card, fine. But then, like I said, the week after that William Saliba one, they didn't give it for something complete, from pretty much exactly the same thing in the same sort of area. So I'm doing bad representation here by not answering these questions and dodging around, going around the houses. But
all right,
but it's hard to make answers of these questions, because it's just inconsistency. Like, I can put my red tinted glasses on and say no, it's not, and majority of the red cards weren't. But if I look at the red cards, I think some are really bad, but that one I kind of say, okay, fair enough. I actually don't really look at the Bournemouth one and say yeah, do you know what, we got really hard done by there. I just think the inconsistency is annoying. That's why I would lean towards that side. But regardless of the red card, I want people to understand that before the red card, we weren't in that game. And I think us fans found it really difficult to really understand that. Me and Robbie always argued that. He said, like, when have we ever won won a game when we've gone down to 10 men? Like, it just kills the game, and we either end up drawing or losing the game. But I'm like, even before that red card, I think Bournemouth win that game. We weren't good before the red card. The red card just kind of compiled the rest of the performance. And yeah, we lost 2-0. But regardless of the red card, I don't think we win that game. So regardless of the answer, we didn't deserve to win that game. So I'll give you your credit. You were good on the day. Good on that day. A long time ago, feels like now.
Yeah. And I tell you what, it was such a good performance, and of course the Manchester City performance around that sort of time as well.
Yeah. What was your thoughts on the red card? So you think
I think it was the last man, but like you say, I completely agree. And I've moaned about VAR, of course. Evanilson last weekend against Manchester United slipped, and instead of Stockley Park and the referee, it was ridiculous. And Tyler Adams's challenge was probably more dangerous. It still wasn't a red card, but it was more dangerous than Evanilson's was. So there is zero consistency. Whereas you take James Tarkowski in the Merseyside derby,
ridiculous.
It was a straight red. It was a dirty, dangerous tackle, to be perfectly honest. Whereas that really wasn't. Saliba, it was the last man. As the rule book says, it probably is a red card. I don't take any pleasure from any player being sent off. I would go back, Cecil, to the 90s, where you would have, strong people like Vieira and, Merson and Duncan Ferguson for Everton trying to strangle players and things like that. I would go back to those days. Roy Keane, I know that he was a bit of a nightmare, and Arsenal fans probably hate him, but
that's classic days. Yeah, proper football. That was real physical. It was proper football, and that's not to say, listen, get rid of VAR now. I just think the people that run it, I wouldn't even mind VAR being away for a season. I was going back to how it used to be back in the day, but it's definitely people that run it just don't have a clue. So to me, it's partly killing the game. I don't want to sound like the old fogey that reminisces of back in the day football, but those times was proper, man. It was proper. So it is a shame. It is a shame, because these red cards, like, I mean, they always say there was an argument that we had a red card. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, I think when someone kicked the ball away and they said they didn't want to ruin the game, so they want to give him a red card. Actually, it was a Man City game at home, and it was Kovacic, should have been red carded, but the ref said that they didn't do it because they didn't want to ruin the game, and then because they wanted to make it, keep it fair, keep players on the pitch. And then nowadays, for this season, we've seen that be thrown out the window many times, especially for Arsenal. So it's frustrating. It's like, what do you want? Get it right, or if not, just get rid of it completely, because you're not bettering it. You're ruining the game. If you're not doing it right, you're going to end up ruining the game. So I don't know. We took so long to get automated offsides. Like, look how long that took. Like, why did it take so long? Like, that is clearly and obvious that was needed, because the refs can't get it right anyway. But let me digress. But thank you for giving your points on William Saliba, because you're kind of half spot on there.
looking at this fixture and then
Mm.
looking at that PSG match, does Arteta gamble and make changes in this match, or does he go into this match looking for a convincing win to take into that game in Paris?
Oh, it's like you watched my preview. Honestly, this was the exact question I said. I was like, does he rotate and try things to be different? Because again, the title is basically, do we have a plan B in one of the videos? So it's like
Yeah.
we struggled so much against PSG to normally we relied on our plan A, but there was no plan B. Arteta made subs very late in the game, and one of the first sub when was losing was fucking bringing Ben White on. Excuse my language, and then bringing on Evanilson with 4 minutes to go in at a time. So you're clearly stuck with ideas and on trusting the players or trying something different. So for me, this is the perfect game to do that against Bournemouth in build up to PSG. However, I don't really want him to do that, which is crazy. I want him to start strong, and he will start. Arteta is a man that he's very consistent with this. He won't fob off this game. He will understand that Bournemouth are a good side. You give him opportunity to embarrass you there, and you've had a good season. They could probably embarrass us if we really over rotated and took the mick and was full eyes on PSG. But I think what Arteta can do is definitely start with a strong side to just start with them. Start with who you want to see, get minutes in the tank, but then try and rotate. Obviously, you can check on how the game's going. That's obviously a key factor to it, depending on the way the game's being played out. Try something different. I mean, Thomas Partey, yes, he returns 1 for this game and 2 for the next fixture in the Champions League, but Martin Odegaard is terribly off form. I said it in my video today with AFTV. I said, why can't we drop him? Arteta won't do it because he's the captain and he's a manager's favorite. He's my teacher's pet, but like, why can't you just try it? It's not even the disrespectful thing. It's like you can start Martin Odegaard. I actually would want him to start Evanilson, but he can start Martin Odegaard and then give Evanilson a solid amount of minutes. It's a good test against Bournemouth. Try something different. Take off Odegaard. Because frankly, in that last game, he was the one that we weren't good at all, if I'm honest, in that game against PSG. But he was the weakest link, and he was killing the team more than benefiting it in that game. So for me, I'd like to see Arteta try new things, but not straight away. I want him to, which I know he will, take the opposition serious. It is the Premier League. I'll be disappointed if we lose this game, I'll be honest. So I think he will go strong, but then I don't see why not. You don't build. I don't see why you don't try new things in this fixture, whether it's the 45th minute, the 60th minute, but get the players on the pitch to try something new. And yes, you can say confidence-wise, what happens if you draw? Or what happens if you draw this game? If you try new things and you draw? Well, I'll be honest, we drew both our games before the Real Madrid fixtures and we absolutely smoked Real Madrid. So those draws don't really mean too much to me. Obviously, if we lose, it's a bit different. I don't want to lose this game, but I don't. If I'm honest, I'm being real. As Bournemouth, as good as Bournemouth is, it's going to be tight. But I don't see us losing this game. So try things in the minutes that are available. Sorry, from half time, I think, and onwards.
As you know, we always do a prediction, and
Yep.
it's going to be a 2-part prediction here. So the first part of the prediction, how do you think it's going to go this weekend?
The first part is in, okay, so so just the overall. I'll be honest, my head's telling me it's going to be a 1-1 draw, but I shouldn't be coming on here saying that. I shouldn't be. And I'm just not even overconfident. I'm not being overconfident for anything. I just think I shouldn't be predicting a draw. And as you're very aware, and build up to a PSG game that we kind of need to win. So,
yeah.
And I think that I want the players to take this game seriously. So I'm going to predict an Arsenal win. I think it's going to be tight. I think it'll be a tough game. I don't see us smoking you. Which I mean, there's a stat that I read. I think it's here actually, which I think is unbelievable. Arsenal have won all 8 of their home games against Bournemouth in all competitions, scoring 23 goals and only conceding just 4. Now, as beautiful as that sounds, and as much as I'd love to be, Arsenal flourishing with goals and us barely concede tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, on the weekend. I don't see that happening. I'm going to go with, I've said in my head is telling me 1-1. Is it going to be a low 1-0? Or do you know what? I'll do a safe score. 2-1 to Arsenal. 2-1 to Arsenal. There's not much confidence there. I'll be intrigued to hear how you think this game's going to play out, because you can see there's no vibes and energy and confidence exuberating from me at all, because I'm just so hit by that PSG result.
Funny enough, I went with 2-1, but of course, I'm back in my own team. And
Fair.
the reason being is we are kind of in the last chance saloon with regards to Europe.
Well, you
Um,
get that. You're 10th. Obviously, if you win, you claw up to about 8th, no? Or like, is it
yeah, we
8th,
can
7th?
do. We can do. Of course, Brighton and Fulham are in the way.
Yeah.
Brentford are just behind us. The last thing we want to do is fall into the bottom half after what has been an absolutely outstanding season to this point. I think Iraola will know that he needs to get something, in out of these 4 games. And I think there's very little room for any error. Yeah, we'll beat Leicester last game of the season, but it might already be decided by then, and we might already have been knocked out of those European places. We might still have a chance, but we might have to rely on other teams, giving up their position. So I think that Iraola will want to make sure that we dictate that ourselves. And I
Mm.
think we will go all out for this fixture. Whereas I guess Arsenal will have one eye on Paris and making sure that that is a success. But I'll tell you what I'll ask you next
Just
is
before you
with
do that,
regard,
there's no Evanilson, is there? So like, just
there is
quickly.
Evanilson. It has been
Oh,
rescinded.
sugar.
It
Oh,
has been
okay.
rescinded.
It's good to
But then
know.
again, you would have been having Dango Watara up front, and look at what
Yeah,
he did to
also been
Nottingham
good.
Forest. He did
Yeah,
really,
Semenyo's been
really
good as
well.
well. Yeah,
Dango,
yeah, fair.
funny enough, he's left midfielder, and 9 times out of 10, he would do something really bizarre on that
Yeah.
side of the pitch, Cecil. And then with that one time, he'd do something that is absolutely outstanding. And you think,
Mm.
how has he pulled that out of the locker? When he was put up front, I think we found that actually that might be his best position moving forwards because he is a good target man. He's got such a leap on him. There was a header as well. I'm trying to think of what game it was, but a fantastic header into the back of the net. And he is a very, very, very good player.
Mm.
But in fact, I'd rather him up front. So it
Wow.
would have
Okay,
been
well.
disappointing to lose Evanilson, of course, after the unfair red card. Luckily, it's been rescinded, but
Nice.
I wasn't too worried about it because I thought, well, Dango's going to go up there. But the second question that I've got for you does relate to this Champions League.
Go on.
Firstly, and I'm rooting for you to get through against PSG.
Appreciate
They
that.
look like they are the best team in Europe at this moment in time,
Yeah.
apart from Arsenal. They
Okay.
have been the Achilles heel for both, English sides. Of course, they knocked out Liverpool and they also knocked out Aston Villa. They did a
Yeah.
real job on Liverpool. Aston Villa got the better of them, though. Can you beat them in their own backyard? And how do you think that will go?
Hmm. Yeah. Again, well done. This is again. These are deep questions and the good questions. Isn't I say
Mm,
deep because I asked the PSG fan this. I said, bro, what is PSG's weaknesses? Because that game against us was so well played. They literally everyone had an answer for Arsenal's questions. It was like
yeah,
everyone was just playing at 10. So I was just like, how do you win at Pac de France? But and I was trying to think logically because obviously a lot as a fan is hope that you're saying, and a lot of my
yeah,
reasons are hope. It's like when I try to explain how do we beat them was like, well, we've seen crazy things happen in football. I was like, but that's not a strong enough answer. That is hope. That's hoping it. That's hopium. That's you relying on something magical happening, which a part of the Prince stadium is going to be very loud. I've been there before. It's crazy there. Fans are unbelievable. They're extremely loud in the Emirates. So how can they overturn it? I think I'll be real. It is a tough ask. If they, I said this on the live yesterday. I said if they reach the levels of what they reached to the Emirates, we're going to struggle. And it's annoying because I said before the PSG game, I said if we face any team and we
yeah,
play our best and they play their best, we win the game. That PSG has hit me so hard that I'm like, if PSG played to that level, we could have problems. So it's a tough one. I think this isn't the overall decider, but Thomas Partey returning helps in that midfield. It can gain us a bit of control and hopefully push some more footballs forward. Um, I think and again, I know PSG well, got some amazing players. Kvaratskhelia was unbelievable. Doué, youngster, unbelievable. Dembele, really good, finding form. They've got very good attackers, but PSG's weakness is the defense. And I'm not saying we have a frightening attack, but I've seen us put 3 past Real Madrid. I've seen us put 2 past Real Madrid at their place, which is really against the odds because no one really would have saw that coming. I've seen us put 5 at Sport, like I mentioned before, 5 against, well, I'm not going to say the City one at home because that's at home, but I've seen us do it. So if we really, really lock in, and I like when Arsenal are underdogs, we seem to perform a lot better when we're underdogs. We're currently a very big underdog because we're going in with a deficit. You might see the level raise massively that can get us over the line. Again, it feels more hopium because there's not really a solid weight behind the answer, because I don't know what Arteta is going to do. I hope he has a plan B. I hope he has an in-game change, which he's actually been really good at in the past. He's very good at getting the huddle together, calling the players over mid-game and coming up with a solution mid-game. I hope in this fixture, if plan A is not working, he has the solution to get us over the line. Otherwise, we could be in a lot of trouble. But yeah, the thing is, quiet the crowd as much as you can early, try and get an early goal, and then it's game on. You get that early goal, you go back to a level playing field. Granted, they have a home advantage. You just have to just go for it. And I think the players, like I mentioned, they can get to a level. There needs to be a bit more emotion or bite in it. And I hope that builds up in the week. I hope it does. I mentioned we're good as underdogs. We play a lot better. But it also needs a little bit of, I don't know, fight or spike. I mean, it should be, boys, wake the F up. You're in a semi-final. You lose this, the whole season's done. But for some reason, I think it always needs a little bit more than that. And if that comes within the week, then we definitely have a chance. So yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at. But also, I want to mention quickly, sorry, Barcelona, phenomenal side. You said about Arsenal being a powerhouse in this competition, been so good this season, and also PSG. They seem to hit a form. I did beat PSG early on in this competition 2-0, and that was one of our better performances. But a lot have changed. PSG have really found, their form massively. Barcelona the other night, unbelievable. Defensively weren't amazing, but that's how they play. They play players whatever position and let them just express themselves, and it's a joy to watch. Inter Milan also normally more resolute at the back, but seems a bit more looser. But again, there's some really the 4 teams that are left in this competition really deserve to be there, and I think they're all of extremely good pedigree. But I just pray that Arsenal end up coming out the other end and in the final, because right now I'm looking at the Europa League scores and I'm starting to sweat hard because I'm seeing bloody Bodo Glimt losing 3-0 to Tottenham and Man United winning 3-0. So could be a Man United Spurs final, and I don't want either of those bloody teams to win. So please, Arsenal, for the mental health of a nation, please get over the line come Tuesday. Come Wednesday evening. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, best of luck to you and all Arsenal fans. Will it be a rerun of the 2006 final against Barcelona? Hopefully with a different outcome this time.
Hopefully.
But yeah. Or would you rather Inter?
No, I would want Barcelona. I mean, I think do you know what? It's funny. I think I always said I don't want Inter and build up to this because we knew that defensively they are so good traditionally, and for Arsenal the way we play is not what we want. We want teams to come on to us. But I watched Inter the other night and thought, there is frailties there that we could actually expose, and it's probably the easier side to play in the final. However, because of the revenge factor and because I'm a man that likes storylines and the vibes and all that, I would love to have Barcelona in the final just to rewrite history if we get there. But yeah, so Barcelona would be for me the more glamorous tie, the one that I would like to see us overcome. And again, we actually beat them in pre-season as well. So I know it's a long time ago, but I just like to claw back to times when we beat them because it's nice to remember, some of the recent performances. But yeah, fingers crossed we make it, because we could be in trouble and being pointed at and laughed at by many other clubs if we don't pick up silver or even make it to the final. But also before I go as well, big up everyone that's joined us and big up the channel as well. Subscribe here, and a big up you guys, Bournemouth fans, because I want you guys to make Europe this season. Like I said, I have a bias to them, so hopefully you guys get over the line as well. But please don't do that against us. Let us just win this one, and then the rest of the games you can enjoy. Go get your 3 points.
Thanks so much, Cecil. Pleasure as always to have you on here. We will be watching on Wednesday night with our fingers crossed, hoping that you can overcome PSG. I'd absolutely love to see you clinch that trophy, that Champions League trophy, come the end of May. But yeah, thanks so much again, mate. And no
Pleasure.
doubt we'll catch up very, very soon.
Yes, love.
And thank you everybody for joining us. Hit the like, subscribe, the bell button below. It helps this channel to grow. Arsenal fans, it'd be great to have you with us as well. And leave your opinions, leave your thoughts. All the very, very best to you in that Champions League semi-final. Hopefully you will make the final and walk away with the trophy, the biggest trophy probably in world football. Now, also check out all of our other interviews as well. We have had the likes of Richie Neville from Five, of course. He's going on tour very soon. We've had Omid Jalili, the comedian. We've had Ocean Colour Scene and Damon Minchella. We've had the Happy Mondays and Gaz Whelan, of course, now Yogi G and the Family Tree. We've had Matt Priest and Dodgy. We've had Rich Archer and Hardfi. And Adam Devlin and the Blue Tones. There's loads more as well. I'm sorry who I have left off of that list. Find it all in the interview tab. You can find out from Cherries legends as well in there. So have a watch of all of those interviews. Until the next one, thank you for joining us. Up the Cherries, up the Gunners. Good luck in your Champions League campaign. Hopefully we can get the 3 points this weekend, but hopefully you'll be walking away with the main prize in Europe. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.